Welcome to my YouTube presentation. Today I will be discussing an important update to the pan-Canadian approach to carbon pollution pricing for the period 2023 to 2030. This update plays a crucial role in Canada's efforts to combat climate change and transition to a low-carbon economy. I will explore the key concepts of this update, examine how it affects Canadian firms, and discuss its potential impact on other countries and firms. Let's dive in. Pan-Canadian approach to carbon pollution pricing is a collaborative effort among provinces and territories in Canada to implement carbon pricing as a key tool for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. In 2023, an update was made to this approach outlining the path forward until 2030. This update has far-reaching implications affecting not only Canadian firms, but also other countries and firms around the world. Let's explore further. The update to the pan-Canadian approach includes two carbon pricing mechanisms, the carbon levy and the output-based pricing system. These mechanisms have both direct and indirect impacts to Canadian firms. The carbon levy update affects Canadian firms in several ways. As the price of carbon increases, over time, businesses that have high carbon emissions will face higher costs. This incentivizes companies to adopt cleaner practices, invest in emission reduction technologies, and improve energy efficiency. While some firms may initially struggle with increased costs, those that proactively reduce their emissions will gain a competitive advantage in a low-carbon economy. As we can see in the slide, the minimum carbon pollution price of Canadian dollars per ton of carbon dioxide from 2023 starting at $65 will increase $15 every year until 2030, reaching $170. The update to the output-based pricing systems also has implications for Canadian firms. The system rewards industrial facilities that reduce their emissions intensity below sector-specific benchmarks. This encourages companies to innovate and find ways to reduce their emissions while remaining competitive. Canadian firms that successfully lower their emissions and meet or exceed these benchmarks can position themselves as leaders in sustainability, enhancing their reputation and market position. As we can see in the slide, for example, in industry and manufacturing, their sector-specific benchmark would be a 0.9 tons per carbon dioxide per unit and emissions reduction of 15%. The pan-Canadian approach creates both challenges and opportunities for Canadian firms. While some businesses may face increased costs initially, those that adapt and embrace cleaner technologies and practices will be better positioned for long-term success. The transition to a low-carbon economy can open new markets and drive innovation, creating opportunities for Canadian firms to provide sustainable products and services domestically and internationally. Additionally, by proactively reducing emissions, Canadian firms can demonstrate their commitment to environmental stewardship, attracting environmentally conscious customers and investors. The update to the pan-Canadian approach can also influence other countries and firms beyond Canada's borders. Canada's commitment to carbon pricing and emission reduction can serve as an example and inspiration for other nations. As more countries implement similar policies, Canadian firms with expertise in clean technologies and sustainable practices can benefit from increased international demand. This global shift towards carbon pricing also helps level the playing field for Canadian firms operating the international markets, as they are already familiar with carbon pricing systems and can leverage their experience. As we can see in the slide, as countries prepare to meet Paris climate goals, more than 100 are using or considering using a carbon price. Before we conclude, I want to give an example. Imagine a Canadian manufacturing company, Smith Manufacturing, that has been operating with high carbon emissions for years. They face increasing costs due to the carbon levy implemented under the pan-Canadian approach. Initially, this seems like a challenge for Smith Manufacturing. However, the company decides to embrace the transition to a low-carbon economy. They invest in clean technologies, improve energy efficiency, adopt sustainable practices. As a result, Smith Manufacturing reduces its carbon footprint, lowers its operating costs in the long run, and gains a competitive edge in the market. They attract environmentally conscious customers who value sustainable practices and secure contracts with companies demanding greener supply chains. Not only does Smith Manufacturing benefit, but it also inspires other Canadian firms to follow. As more companies join the movement, Canada becomes a global leader in sustainability. The commitment to carbon pricing and emission reductions serves as an example for other countries, spurring international efforts to combat climate change. Through the pan-Canadian approach, Canadian firms not only contribute to a cleaner and more sustainable future, but also find new opportunities for growth and innovation. It's a win-win situation, not only for businesses, but for the planet as well. In conclusion, the pan-Canadian approach to carbon pollution pricing for 2023 to 2030 not only advances Canada's fight against climate change, but also has significant impacts on Canadian firms and potential implications for other countries and firms. By encouraging emission reductions and driving innovation, Canadian firms can seize opportunities in the growing low-carbon economy and enhance their competitiveness. Furthermore, Canada's commitment to carbon pricing sets an example for other nations, fostering a global transition to a more sustainable future. Thank you for watching my YouTube presentation on the update to the pan-Canadian approach to carbon pollution pricing for 2023 to 2030. I hope this overview has provided you with a valuable insight into how this update affects Canadian firms and its potential impact on other countries and firms. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Together, let's create a greener and more sustainable future. Thank you very much.